The abortion state.
Money and politics buying the Attorney General's office. George Tiller's late-term abortion business is in Wichita, Bleeding, Kansas. Despite Kansas' strict late-term abortion laws, an average of 167 babies are killed each month at Tiller's abortion business. Tiller created the Pro-Can-Do Political Action Committee. Tiller gives vast amounts of money to Pro-Can-Do. Pro-Can-Do, in turn, gives that money to pro-abortion politicians. This lets Tiller get around campaign finance laws. By sheer coincidence, the political winds of Bleeding, Kansas typically blow in favor of the baby-killing industry. Many politicians blow with the prevailing winds. The campaign of pro-abortion Governor Sebelius received a great deal of money from Tiller and Pro-Can-Do. Pro-abortion Nola Fulston is the district attorney of Sedgwick County, where Wichita is located. Fulston has the power to override an attorney general, at least when the situation involves Tiller. Pro-abortion Paul Morrison was the district attorney of Johnson County. He switched parties in order to run for Kansas Attorney General in the 2006 election. Former Kansas Attorney General Phil Kline was up for re-election in 2006. Kline went against the prevailing winds. Kline believed in enforcing the laws of Kansas.
Phil Kline had to go.
Kansas law only allows late-term abortions in very limited circumstances. Yet, an average of 167 babies are killed each month at Tiller's late-term abortion business. Kline subpoenaed Tiller client records for the investigation, and a judge agreed. All personally identifiable information was scrubbed. Kline hired world-renowned psychiatrist Dr. Paul McHugh to review the records. McHugh found no case that justified a late-term abortion under the strict Kansas laws. Although not revealed until after the investigation was canceled by the new Attorney General in 2007, it was found that Tiller was doing some late-term abortions illegally for reasons as trivial as the client being, quote, unable to play sports, end quote, or, quote, unable to attend concerts, end quote, while pregnant.
None of them represented a full psychiatric history. Certainly, being able to go to a sporting event, being able to go to the prom, go to a concert. There's a life at stake here, and much more serious issues need to be brought up, particularly if you want to obey the Kansas law that says some serious impairment is required. I can only tell you that from these records, anybody could have gotten an abortion if they wanted one.
Tiller's attorneys fought the subpoena by claiming it was a privacy violation. Consider an unrelated example. A doctor, not an abortionist, is making fraudulent diagnoses as an excuse to engage in unnecessary medical procedures. Prosecutors need to examine patient records with all identifying information removed to gather evidence. People would not call this a privacy violation because it does not involve an abortionist. Meanwhile, the 2006 election season blew in.
The child-killing industry is supposed to be treated with kid gloves, especially in Bleeding, Kansas. Phil Kline had to pay a price.
Just in time, a nonprofit called Kansans for Consumer Privacy Protection Incorporated formed on August 28, 2006. This new organization just happened to have the same address as Pro-Can-Do and the same chairwoman. Kansans for Consumer Privacy Protection suddenly became awash in money and unleashed a Kansas tornado of sorts. The tornado littered bleeding Kansas with debris like this. At least 6 different pieces of the Tiller and Morrison political debris talked about privacy. In previous years, Tiller's abortion business website indicated that abortion customer data was given to Pro-Can-Do. Privacy, anyone? The debris and its misrepresentations of facts swept Paul Morrison, the child-killing industry's choice, into the Attorney General's office. Despite using hundreds of thousands of dollars and sharing an address with Pro-Can-Do, the quote-unquote non-profit Kansans for Consumer Privacy Protection Incorporated has not registered with the IRS, and almost no information is available about it. Who was the real winner? Despite strong political winds, Klein refused to corrupt himself for the sake of his political career. Klein carried out his duties as Attorney General of Kansas. Klein is an example of what a politician should be, but so often is not. Blessed are they that suffer persecution for justice' sake. Matthew 5:10. Blessed are ye when they shall revile you and persecute you and speak all that is evil against you untruly for my sake. Matthew 5:11.
Abortionist George Tiller and others have spent millions to lie and to buy the office of Attorney General.
The Kansas Attorney General's office was purchased almost as easily as Tiller purchases needles to stick in babies' hearts. Which office will be purchased next?
My job as Attorney General is to enforce the law.
The Kansas Attorney General is supposed to enforce the law.
Paul Morrison's contributors want to ignore existing laws against child rape and late-term abortion. Paul Morrison said he'd walk away from evidence of the crime. I will not.
If you don't want another office purchased, ask Attorney General Morrison to do his job and enforce Kansas law.